Hi, everybody. Welcome to another show of I Don't Know What I'm Naming This Yet.
I love that title. That's a great title. And before you do go further, I mean, since you are Canadian, I figured we'd have a drink sponsor, Little Windsor Canadian, for tonight. So,
oh, gosh. Hold on. John, bring me wine. It's going to be one of those nights, ladies and gentlemen. Since we're drinking, the key word is lace.
Keyword. I like that. That is a great keyword. I love it.
Oh, I had tickers, and I had them all set up, and I didn't even do the tickers today. Woo, tickers. You got fancy, guys. I paid for this.
Oh.
It's not free anymore. There's no logo in the corner.
Welcome to the show.
Fancy. It's because I ran out of hours.
Okay.
You only get 20 hours for free on the free StreamYard, and I ran out.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually. Heck yeah. Growing. So, hey, Mindy. Hey, Northwest. Let's see. I missed. Oh,
hi,
Mary.
Everybody.
Hi. Sweet. Sweet.
Mary and I are buddies now.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary.
That's the guy that I'm like, what are you doing Wednesday at 9 p.m. EST? Nothing. Coming on my show.
Nothing.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Yeah. I've got nothing to do.
Oh no, it's more about just. I mean, you gotta support our fellow Patreon members and I guess Discord members and all of that. So
yeah,
heck yeah.
Plus, I would have harassed you by the time, You've had enough guest appearances on here. It's time for your own episode.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Either way is I just love hanging out, so I don't do enough of my own stuff, so I have to just make panty raids onto other people's channels.
Yeah. Speaking of that, when are you going to do your own channel? Like podcast live thing?
Podcast live thing? Yeah. I have most definitely I've kicked around the thought of doing it. I guess I want to know in my own mind that I have enough stuff to talk about, even though I'm pretty good at just rambling on and on and on. I want it to be interesting content. If I were to do lives, I guess if I were doing live egg cuttings and just having interesting stuff, I could start bringing my daughter around. She's interesting enough for sure. So was that Marvel that was asking for a drink?
Kayla. Yeah. My cup. Wine improves with age. I improve with wine.
Your cup runneth over.
That goes for you guys too. I improve. The show improves the more you drink.
Oh, what? Now that question caught my attention real quick. What combos would convince me to buy lace? Should I bring it out already?
You want to bring it out?
Yeah.
I mean, we can. Let's start with that. Are you bringing out the world? Are you bringing out what I think you're bringing out?
Yep.
This dude hit a world first, guys.
I hope
it's
shows
insane.
Up. All right, wrong way.
There you go.
So that is Blackhead Phantom Lace. Yeah. And I will show this off over and over and over and over again because, number one, I'm really super proud of putting this pairing together. And two, I just think that Lace and Blackhead, it was unexpected to me. Lace and Blackhead really, really work well together.
Mindy, the thumbnail for this podcast was that snake.
Yep, that for sure. And then, so that was Lace Blackhead Phantom. And then if you just take Phantom out, even the lace and
blackhead.
Is
that the male?
Really...
You were like, I'll hold it back for you, and I'm like, it's male.
No, this one here, this is my male holdback. That this guy is not going anywhere. So, but I really
I'm hoping you'll hit a female blackhead lace
this
year, and you'll let me have her.
Okay, so that female went super late. She just, I think this clutch hatched out in September, so she went really late, and I haven't paired that female again. I mean, obviously she's still getting back up to size, and I'm really kind of struggling with that decision because on one hand I want to repeat the pairing, but on the other hand I have a bamboo puzzle that I really need to try and get some more hets. So it's like go back and repeat that pairing that I know is awesome, or make some awesome hets. I'm
going to be selfish and tell you to redo that pairing because
I know
I will import a blackhead female lace, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I was just so ecstatic with how that reaction with the blackhead and lace alone came. I was like, I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. So it seemed to enhance everything with lace and enhance everything with blackhead all in the same snake. It was really cool to see that interaction between the two genes. And then throw in the phantom, and that was another one. I was like, wow. God. So that just nails down, that just puts in concrete my vision as far as like taking that project further, because from the very beginning, the whole idea for that project is to bounce down the line to hit the double super. I want a super blackhead, super lace, mix in a little phantom into that. That's what I'm shooting for. And that was just the first step. And I was like, whoa, shit. First step.
Then if you're aiming for that, repeating that pairing wouldn't be a bad idea then to get more holdback.
Yeah, I know.
And then send something Kathleen's way up in Canada. Because blackhead and lace are hard to find here. And those are two genes we need desperately. Because we want to get the blackhead into the mahogany line.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Especially with that banana mahogany spot nose HRA.
Ooh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was God dang it. It's totally slipping my mind right now, but a guy that is in my the lace Facebook group, he produced a couple of white lace HRAs earlier this year. God dang it. Joe. His first name is Joe, and his last name is just completely slipping me right now.
It's probably something like Smith.
Yeah. But it looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to sprinkle lace into everything in my collection. The idea behind it is I'm going to put lace into all of my current incomplete dominants, my own current recessives. And as soon as I produce those females that produce them, once my lace version of that has grown up, then I'm going to rotate out. So hopefully down the road, I can kind of rotate everything so that at least I have lace in everything.
So I know a bunch of people here are asking, what's lace? What does lace do? I know what it does because I'm friends with you. But why don't you explain to everybody, since you are the lace man?
Right. So the lace is an enhancing gene. Now, Kobilka has said that it has similarities with Desert Ghost, which I agree with, but I honestly feel like it has more similarities to number 1, fire, and number 2, hypo. I say fire because it does brighten up your combos. That doesn't necessarily always mean that the lace in the single form is going to be a brighter snake, because I have very dark lace and I have very bright lace. So it doesn't necessarily happen in the single, but when you mix it into your combinations, then you're going to brighten up and you're going to enhance those. So that's where I get like it's similar to fire because it brightens up your combinations. When I say it has hypo properties, I've noticed like you saw how dark that the blackhead lace phantom is. It's an extremely dark snake. When that thing sheds out, it has a clear shed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot along the lines of your hypos where they'll shed out clear. And even the super lace that has the super lace is a pretty dark snake itself, but it has no pattern left over in its shed like hypos.
Yeah.
And another thing that everyone loves about hypos is the adults look amazing. They look they look nice. They tend to grow very well, and I'm seeing that with all of my adult laces. I have like I think she's 1,800 gram female. She's breeding right now, but it's a black pastel fire lace, and she looks absolutely gorgeous as an adult. Oh, yeah. So, and I think if you kind of compare it to something, if you compare, say, a pewter, a black or a black pewter, black pastel and pastel, they age terribly. They look beautiful as hatchlings, but they do age horribly on the most part. Not always, but for the most part, they don't age very well. Now I have this black pastel fire and lace, and man, she looks better, I think, as an adult than she did. I swear to God. And you don't get to say that very often with ball pythons. So yeah. That's the one part of it is the lace is an enhancing gene. But the bonus to that, it'll brighten your combinations like fire. But when you mix them together, you're not ending up with a white snake. People love their white snakes, but they're hell for a breeder because now you're trying to identify
what the heck's in it.
Right. And more often than not, you're just having to sell this white snake as possible this or possible that and possible this. So now you get those benefits of fire, and you can actually use it in the super form as well. And the super form of lace is really cool. And I like to kind of compare it to, or I tell people the super lace is kind of like a yellow belly on steroids.
I'm gonna need some lace.
Right. So with the super lace, you get that checkering along the belly line, similar to yellow belly.
Yellow belly.
Right. And then a lot of the times, like what it'll do is it will float your alien head, so it shrinks up your pattern. Yeah. And things like that. So it pushes the pattern up towards the dorsal a lot. So and another thing you see a lot of you see a lot of these donuts that are in the pattern and stuff like that. So it's like I said, it's a very dark looking animal as well. But again, you don't end up with very much color or pattern in the sheds.
Yeah. So interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
I want one.
I know.
Can you talk to me? I want one. Well, I want blackhead and I want lace. So I mean,
there you go. There you go.
Throwing it out there. I'll just import it.
Right.
My first big import. Because I can imagine there's probably a wait list for those.
No, surprisingly, I don't have a wait list per se. I know I do have people like some of the pairings that I do get messages from people. It's like, I want one of those or this or that. Unfortunately, I'm taking my projects very slow. So I was doing very simple pairings. Like, for instance, I did a super lace to a phantom. Okay. Well, I ended up with a lot of lace, and I ended up with a lot of lace phantoms. And not a lot of people wanted a male lace phantom. So now I have from 2 separate pairings, the blackhead phantom and the phantom female. I still have like 3 males left over. So unfortunately, I mean, that's just the way it goes. I mean, I got kind of male heavy on those two clutches, so I'm sitting on a lot of lace males and a lot of lace phantom males, but that's the way it
guys,
goes.
if you want lace and blackhead and phantom, now's your chance.
I would say it was like, okay, I do have to say, if there's anybody that is on the stream right now and they are thinking about lace, the number one thing that I will tell everybody and anybody who listens to me is you have to, in my opinion, work the lace project like a recessive. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why I have a lot of holdbacks, and I didn't sell a whole lot of like kind of the goal animals that like the blackhead phantom lace. There's no way in hell I was going to sell her because I want to hit that super blackhead, super lace. Everything that you should shoot for, whether it's very simple, like a lace pastel is what you're breeding for. Don't stop there. What you want to produce is the super lace pastel. So I tell anybody that listens to me, I said, please, you have to work it like a lace, or I mean a recessive. So if you've got one lace, you got a female. Yeah, you need to get a lace male. So you need to get those heads. I need to
get both of them. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. If I'm importing anyway,
it is a super subtle. When you start mixing lace into combinations, it can be overpowered by a lot of other genes. I probably get 3 to 4 messages a month, I would say, from somebody who's like, I did this lace to a lesser, just as an example. I did this lace to a lesser, and I'm confused. I don't know. Did I hit lace in this animal here? And number one, I tell them I need to see the side and the belly line. I can't give you 100% ID on a lace from overhead, because there's so much going on with the identification of it in the belly line and on the side. So a top overhead photo does me nothing. And it is very, very subtle, and it gets overpowered by a lot of other genes. So many times you're like, I don't know, I think you got a possible lace there. And they're like, well, why can't you tell? Because it's a tough gene to work with in the heterozygous form. So, I mean, you really honestly have to treat a lace animal, a single lace animal, almost like a het. It's just, you happen to have some very good markers for the super. So,
and I mean, if I'm gonna import 2 from you anyway, it doesn't hurt that I'll just get a male and a female blackhead lace.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you'd hate to waste that.
I hate to waste it. Yeah.
Exactly.
And this is why Kathleen spends a lot of money on snakes, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm easily persuaded.
Callie is in here, and she's got some beautiful stuff that she's going to work with.
Are they from you?
One is. Yeah. Ooh. She picked up like one of my second lace clutches of the year was my super lace. And you'll hear me say, I paired my super lace male to this or that. You'll hear me say that a lot, because I want to know, when I'm doing these projects, I want to make sure that I know exactly what has lace in it, because it does get difficult. But Callie ended up, she's got, this phenomenal. It's a citrus line pastel calico lace. And that, I did hold back. Well,
yes, I remember seeing hers.
Yeah, and that sucker, they're starting to almost glow.
Ron Thompson, we don't. Oh God, is that like free drink?
Ultramil super lace, I know, right? Oh my God,
that's too cute for what?
Yep. So, Callie ended up getting the sibling to this one right here.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Look at that fading on the sides.
Right, and she actually. Callie actually ended up with my holdback, because I could not. Let's see. Yes, the one that she picked out from photos is the one that I had decided originally to hold back. Yeah. And then I couldn't get this one because I was going to say, well, this is the one that's available, and I couldn't get her to eat. She would strike at everything, anything.
Yeah.
I mean, she would strike at the air and was pissed off at the world, but still wouldn't eat. She would strike at her food and strike at her food and strike at her food, like to the point where I felt horrible for the fuzzies that I was offering. I was like, oh my God, I got to get that thing out of there. But she would just strike at it and not constrict and eat it. So Callie ended up, I was feeling so bad for her. I mean, she was waiting and waiting and waiting. She was so patient. She was just so great to work with, but I could not get that one to eat. So I was like, I tell you what, you can have the one that you originally wanted, the one that I was going to hold back. You take that one, and I'm going to continue working with this girl. But we finally got her going, so yay.
Yeah, it's fun getting those little ones eating.
Yeah, that was a strange one, though. I've never had one that was so defensive to the point where she wouldn't eat. I was like, usually they're timid and won't eat. But this one was like, I will murder you and leave you alone. I'm like, no, eat it.
I had one who could never hit the rat. Like he would sit there, and then you would have to like put it in his mouth, like just the muzzle on the freaking rat, just fuzzy, put it in there, and then he would grab it and constrict around it, and then as he goes to right himself to eat it, he'd be like, squirrel, forget completely about it.
What was I doing here? Yep.
Yeah.
So that one,
and I'm like, that one, he's eating now on his own. So I was worried because of the spot nose, if it was something neurological or,
Yeah.
But he hit it the other night, no problem. So I'm like, woohoo!
Nice.
Yeah.
Was anyone keeping tally? Has anyone been keeping tally of where we're at on drink numbers or what?
I have no idea. I'm just drinking.
Yeah, I know. I lost count.
Give it up. Give it up, guys.
I know. I haven't had to switch now.
I don't know why I'm drinking Riscato. Okay, so this cup did me 7 hours the other day.
Nice.
Not tonight. Not tonight. Watch me at Cards Against Humanity tomorrow night. I'm gonna be like,
oh, that's right. Oh, I'm scared of you guys. I don't know if I want to get involved in Cards Against Humanity.
I get competitive,
and
I slinging insults, and I don't care who you are or how good of friends we are. It gets bad.
That's not a bad thing.
No. Paul Taylor. Lace is on my list. Yeah, Lace is big time on my list.
Yeah.
You know why? Because it works similar to Hypo and DG, but it's not Hypo and DG.
Yeah. And I mean, for those out there that are thinking about Lace or whatever, of course, please contact me, check out my Morph Market page and everything like that. But
he has children he has to feed.
I have children now. But I mean, the thing of it is I see, like, I'm pushing very, very hard to kind of spread the word, as they would say. But I have to say, I have to pay my respects. There's a guy out there, his name, he's in Buffalo, New York, Mike Paquette with Nocturnal Mutations.
Okay.
He kind of like took me by the hand and said, "Hey, come follow me. I'll show you what this is all about." And he spent hours on the phone with me. We were talking about the gene, talking about potential, talking about projects and things like that. And Mike Paquette is one of these guys where he will message me in the middle of the night if I have a question. He's just been an amazing friend, and I mean, I've gotten to know him pretty good over the last, I'd say, about 4 to 5 years. And he's really, when it comes to the Lace gene itself, he's been a real good mentor of mine. and he's got so much knowledge on the gene. In fact, most everything that I've learned about lace comes directly from Mike Biquette with Nocturnal Mutations. So he's a really great guy. And there's a lot of guys out there on the East Coast, like Matt Lee is another one that works not heavily, but he does he has his lace project that he's working with. And then of course, where Billy has gotten a lot of his lace clowns and stuff.
Oh, Billy's in the lace project now.
That was 2 lace animals were in that shipment that came over frozen. It was a white lace Enchi pastel het clown and a white lace clown.
Oh my god!
So that was in that shipment. And a lot of that stuff came from Seth Siebert. And Seth Siebert, he's working a lot of the stuff into clowns. So he's definitely got a lot of the higher end stuff. But his initial stock came from Scott Seavey. Scott Seavey is the man who proved out the gene. So a lot of his stock comes directly from the source. So where I have a couple of snakes that come directly from Scott, but not all. Mine come a roundabout way from Scott. So a lot of that's the cool thing about the gene, I think, is that not many people are working it. So when you do get an animal, it's probably
sucks about it.
Yeah. But a lot of the stuff is maybe a second generation directly from the source of the very first lace gene.
Yeah. So. But it sucks for us Canadians because genes are hard enough to find up here.
Yeah, it's gonna get better. Yeah, it's gonna get better real quick. I'm pretty sure Billy is gonna do his part to make sure of that, because we all know, like Billy with the Freeway Project and everything, lace is very nice with yellow belly. It works very nice. It works very nice. It's very hard to identify.
I was going to say it's probably a biatch to identify.
Yeah, it does. Because with every other gene, or with all genes out there, you have some snakes that are a very high expression and some that are a lower expression. So if you have a low expression lace with a high expression yellow belly, you're pretty much taking a guess on that. It's like, I think maybe it's a lace yellow belly, but I don't know.
So plus with that flaming on the sides, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, they have some very similar pattern, I guess. So when those two are combined, they're amazing. They look awesome, but sometimes they can be very tough to identify. So
I'm just like, I want to get that into my freeway stuff.
And so pretty sure
I got Mojave asphalt, I got a single gene female asphalt, I got yellow belly for days.
Yep. And,
so
oh yeah. And I'm actually working a project for this coming year where I've paired my super lace to No, not my super lace. I paired a ivory to a lace. So everything is for sure going to be yellow belly, of course.
Yeah.
And I think he might even have hidden gene Woma in him. So it'll be interesting to see. But so I'm looking to hit some pastel yellow belly lace, possibly maybe even some hidden gene Woma sprinkled in there. But I'm really excited to see that, because for one, it's going to be really hard, I think, to identify, and then it's going to be an amazing looking clutch. They're very bright.
I'd almost want to see something like Scaleless Head mixed in with lace, because Scaleless Head.
Yeah. I mean, you have
too.
You've got an enhancer on top of an enhancer. The one thing, when you mention that, the one thing that I am completely lacking in my collection is Desert Ghost, which needs to change, because that's another one that I want to work is a lace Desert Ghost project.
Yeah. So. Or like hypo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my god, all those things.
So, and that's to my own fault. I'm gonna end up being very, very, very slow with all of my stuff because I'm trying to take everything one step at a time so that I can see the so I can see the combinations one step at a time. And so that's going to be so irritatingly slow to do this, but it's the way that I want to go. I have learned very fast that the gene was very hard to identify in the single form. So I want to take it real slow, go one step at a time, try to use a super as much as I can. And that way I for sure know what I'm working with. The way that I got into the whole lace gene in the very beginning was I was looking for an adult Enchi, and I was on Morph Market, and I found a really great price on an Enchi pastel lace. It was the very first time I'd ever seen the gene even listed. So I was like, I wanted Enchi, and it's a good price, and there's this extra gene in there that I get to learn about. So I picked it up. That first year, once I learned more about Enchi, I mean, not Enchi, but lace, that very first year, I paired it just to a normal so that I could, I wanted to see what this lace gene looked like in the single form. And I hit an animal that I thought was an Enchi lace is what I thought it was. That very same year, I paired that male to a fire female. And the first one to lay was the normal. And like I said, I thought I had an Enchi lace. The second one to go that year was the fire. And all of a sudden, I got a super fire. I was like, wait a minute. How the hell did I how did I get a super fire? I paired an Enchi pastel lace to this fire female. Well, the next year I did a few more pairings, and to make a long story short, it turns out that this Enchi pastel lace that I purchased was in fact an Enchi fire.
Oh.
And that's how I got on the whole crusade of trying to break down the lace gene, work it real slow, use a super as much as possible, because I learned real quick that it can be really hard to identify. The original male that I purchased as an Enchi pastel lace was this guy right here.
Oh my.
So he was the very first supposed lace animal that I ever purchased. And so far, I have yet to prove out that he's pastel, and I've yet to prove out that he's lace. And I'm very doubtful that he's lace at all. I think that he's just a very nice looking Enchi fire. But
oh yeah, he's gorgeous.
His offspring from that very first clutch that I thought was Enchi laces, she's actually due to lay tonight, tomorrow, in the next couple of days or whatever. Yeah. So that'll be the first time that I take his offspring to a lace, a super lace, and definitively prove out that this guy is not lace. Maybe, I'm hopeful that maybe I just missed on lace throughout, because I paired him a couple of times. I got offspring from him. And when I found out that he wasn't what I purchased him as, I stopped breeding him until I can breed his offspring.
Yeah.
So
now you can swap him with, some lace stuff.
Exactly. So he will eventually, actually, I mean, so the Enchi fire offspring from him.
Yeah.
I paired that girl to my super lace. So regardless, I'm going to get an Enchi fire lace this season, as long as she doesn't slug up. Let's, fingers crossed on that.
Yeah, I'm so paranoid I'm going to slug out or not hit anything or they reabsorb because it's first season. So I'm like,
yeah.
What's working in my favor is 3 out of 4 of them are proven breeders.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I don't think I've ever shown really to anybody, but that's the original guy that got me on this whole kick from the very, very start, because he was the snake that forced me to look into it and find out exactly what the lace gene does, how it reacts, and everything like that. And right off the bat, one of the things I found out from the start is, and from what I've seen of other people's pairings, Enchi and lace are really hard to see because Enchi most definitely overpowers lace.
Yeah.
So,
Mary, we don't want the stuff to go to his head. Stop giving him compliments.
Yeah, no, I don't need that. Especially, my wife will even vouch for that.
So I know some people in here know you, but you're new to like some of the discords that we're in together, and they don't know you completely. So, going to tell them your claim to fame?
Oh, my claim to fame.
Which is really cool, guys. Like, sit down, listen in.
Yeah.
Mr. Platz is about to tell you a story.
Yeah. I'm gonna throw you a shocker here. I have another long story, but so I guess I have to go back to when I first started breeding ball pythons because that ties into it. So I met my wife in 2015, and she's managing and grooming at a pet store, and some of her friends. Or one of her friend, Crystal Wing, was breeding ball pythons and is breeding ball pythons. And she was kind of hiding snakes from her husband, like anything that she would buy. She would hide them from her husband. So if she picked up something new, she would usually like bring it to me. And I in a sense became her quarantine, and I would hold on to the snakes for her. And then on top of it, I went out, and because she was getting close to having some eggs, but didn't have enough room in her incubator. So I went out and I built my own incubator without even breeding my own snakes. I started incubating some of her clutches. So that was my initiation into breeding ball pythons through Crystal. And through helping her out, I started picking up a few snakes of my own and everything like that. Yeah. And so Crystal, she lived outside of the city limits. I lived inside of the city limits. Yeah. And when I decided, after helping her out, I decided I was going to start picking up my own snakes, and I wanted to do a little breeding project of my own. It was through that I found out that within the city limits of where I lived, snakes were banned. The ordinance as it was written in the city of Minot, where I live, was prohibited animals, snakes. Didn't say, like venomous are banned or prohibited. Yeah. Anacondas are prohibited. Retics. It didn't specify anything. It just said snakes. So it didn't matter if you had a retic, or it didn't matter if you had a garter snake, they were banned. Yeah. So I figured if I was going to keep snakes and breed snakes, and I knew that lots of people, it was one of these ordinances where you were not going to get in trouble with having a snake until you were in trouble for something else. Okay. Most of the time that somebody got busted for having a snake, it was because there was a domestic dispute in the house, or a drug deal went bad, and cops had to come into your house, and they was like, "Hey, there's snakes in here." So it was an ordinance, but not really widely enforced. So I figured I wanted to kind of be on the straight and narrow a little bit, and because I had already started collecting snakes and I'd started my own breeding of my own. But I was like, if I want to try to market myself, I better at least have a look at this ordinance. And then I went to the city council I asked them if they knew that there was an ordinance. They didn't know there was an ordinance. I was like, well, this is really stupid. So can we sit down and we talk about it? And through all these conversations with the city council, they put together a committee and they assigned me and some other people to that committee. And we got together and we discussed all the different animal ordinances in the city. And we made recommendations on those ordinances to the city council. And then they voted on our recommendations. So through all of that, I was able to get the ordinance amended and then changed, and they allowed snakes within the city limits. And I want, all in all, it probably took about a year of that to get the ordinance turned around. So.
Meanwhile, you're still buying snakes in the background.
Yeah, and then by the time they approved the snakes, I think they approved the ordinance on March of 2018, and by April of 2018, I had 5 clutches in the incubator. I was like, I don't know
they just got here, guys. They came gravid.
It magically appeared.
Yeah.
So
it was parso.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was an interesting little adventure, and I'd have to say, I do get that question from some people every once in a while. I was like, well, what'd you do? How'd you do this? Number one, I just talked to the city council, made my concerns aware, because I don't know how that all works in Canada, but for here, every city council across the United States, at every council meeting, there is a slot that is mandatory for them to open up the floor to the city people to voice their concerns. And that's the first step I took, was I went up there and I voiced my concern. That's what your city council is there for. Because I took a lot of heat from people that were outside of the reptile community, just, your normal citizens. I took a lot of heat. They're like, the city council has so much better, they have so much other things to worry about than your stupid ordinance. And I was like, it's a concern of mine. Yeah. It may not be your concern, but it's a concern of mine. That's what they get paid to do, is to listen to my concerns and discuss it. So if anyone's listening, if you have any kind of issues like that, the first step is just to open up communication with your city officials. That's what they're there for.
I know, like here in my province, everything's regulated under the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. Mm-hmm. So we have an exclusion list.
Yeah.
But nobody challenges it.
Yeah.
Because where I live, I'm not going to go into details, but we had a really bad incident. I want to say it's like almost been 10 years, right around there. Mm-hmm. It shook the hobby big time, but it involved an African rock python and 2 little boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I live.
Okay.
Or where I live. So it's very strict here.
Yep.
Sometimes you can get away with stuff-ish adjacent. Like, technically, my Cuban false chameleons are illegal, but technically they're legal at the same time.
Yep.
Because they're in a knoll, and then they have the knoll SPP listed, and then they list all the different species.
Yep.
So, but because they put like the knoll subsection, and technically they're legal, even though they don't have them listed by themselves individually.
Yep. Yep.
What I would not mess with here, where I live, is the snake stuff.
Right.
So, I think the biggest snake on the list, and I'd have to go look at it, I think the biggest one we're allowed to have is like a blood python.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, they're really picky. No retics, no berms, no big snakes. They just went into a panic and cut them all out.
One of the things that they left on the prohibited list was venomous, obviously. And that wasn't something that I was even remotely interested in fighting, because it was one of these situations where I knew I had to give a little so that I could take a little. So I was like, well, if you guys want to have snakes prohibited, you take your venomous, make all venomous prohibited. And of course, technically on that list is hognose, right? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I've learned throughout that whole process in talking with just the average person on the street, the average person that would come into our committee meetings, when you talk to somebody who's not familiar with snakes, everything is a freaking boa. Everything is called a python. Everything is called a boa. There's no distinction.
Everything's 20 feet long, and
everything's 20. There's no distinction between species when you're talking to someone. Okay. Yeah. So one of the things, obviously, like I said, technically a hognose is on our list, but I've talked to a few people that wanted to have hognoses in town. I said, take your hognose, put it in your house. Okay. Just don't go running down the street and say, hey, look at my venomous snake. Right. That's the biggest thing is if you have somebody, nobody is going, let me back up. If somebody is concerned about that, they're not going to know what it is that you have. You just have a snake. Okay. So it was like, there's always going to be these ridiculous laws. Okay. But there's always a way to work around these ridiculous laws.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so that's one of the biggest things I learned in that is that it kind of doesn't matter what is prohibited, because the people that are 9 times out of 10, the people that are enforcing these ordinances don't know what the hell they're talking about in the first place.
It's so funny because our list is kind of like odd. And they just panicked, and basically anything that'll like basically get 10 feet and bigger is gone on the list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On the list. I was sitting there trying to find it so I could just give you an idea. But it's funny, we can have a black throat monitor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know how big those boys get, but I can't get a lychee.
Yep. Yeah.
But half of that problem is lychees weren't really into the trade 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I can get a Cresty though. That's the only New Caledonian listed.
Yeah.
So but a lot of us are too scared to start bringing that up because they're so strict here on stuff.
And you don't want to lose what you have. Yeah. And there's a good friend of mine that is actually living in a city. I don't want to publicly say names and cities, but he's a fairly big breeder.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of high dollar animals and lives in a city where ball pythons are actually, he found out, not allowed. And when he talked to me about it, he was like, what am I going to do? I mean, I can go talk to the city council, but if it were to get turned down, I'm taking a huge risk at making myself known publicly as what's going on in my house. Yeah. I said, that's a great point. I said, you have a choice. You've already operated for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
Under the assumption that you were fine, turns out you weren't. You can continue on operating as you are, because obviously for the past 10 years, no one really cares what you're doing. Or what you could do is you could have somebody else represent you.
Yeah.
And you can have them go talk to the city council. Because I agreed with them. I said that would be pretty risky to go into the city council and say, hey, we have this ordinance and I would like to get it reversed. They can always turn around and like, why do you want to look into this ordinance? I don't know. I just really love snakes. Really?
Yeah.
I do. So, you have
I
to.
really want to get one of these snakes,
Yeah.
and I can't get it right now because of the ordinance.
Yeah, and it's one. Excuse me. It's a kind of an important thing to remember when if someone is out there and you are trying to fight that battle.
Yeah.
One important thing to remember is definitely keep your cool, keep your emotions in check, and also pick and choose your battles.
Yep.
Everyone has their complaints and everyone has their gripes about whether it's a federal official, a city official, some sort of politician, or we all hate them. But if you're fighting for something that you believe in, and you fighting for something that you know is right, in order to get that, sometimes you have to make compromises. Sometimes you have to pick and choose your battles. Okay. Yeah. I knew that if I wanted to get a snake ordinance overturned, that I couldn't go in there screaming and yelling at the top of my lungs. I want to let all snakes in the city limits. You guys are stupid. You guys are wrong. I want all snakes.
Yeah.
I knew that the first thing to do is just simply get my foot in the door. So I was like, well, what if we kind of have a look at this? We'll change a few things to make some of us happy, and we'll make the others happy that don't want snakes.
Yeah.
So that was just the first step. That doesn't mean that I'm done, that I'm never going to go back to city council and say, hey, what about people with education permits? Can we have larger snakes? Can we have venomous for people who want to do educational programs?
Yeah.
That fight is not done. But the initial fight is done. I won that battle. The war's not over, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that you have to always remember is pick and choose your battles. Pick what's important to you right now. Work up to that end goal or something like that.
Yeah. See, I just take the exclusion list and work off of that. And like I said, people call chameleons because they're a knoll species, and they list all the knoll species. And then they start to go through and list them individually. I'm like, okay, I know I'm good, even though technically it's just because it's outdated.
Right. Yep.
So I'm like, okay, I can play around with that a little bit. But
that's honestly
big ritic.
Yeah, that honestly sounds like a great ordinance to be able to pick off one at a time. If you talk to the right people, it's like, what about these ones here?
It's more of like, if I got in trouble, I could be like, well, then you said all an old species. This is an old barbatus. This has only been in the pet trade for 5 years. That's your list is 10, 11 years old. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're good.
We need to revisit this. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're not, a lot of the reptile people here where I live, we're not pushing it unless we have to.
Right. Kind of one of those things where
they keep taking our limit. Like one of our provinces that are beside us, you have to have a permit for a bearded dragon.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. How much does that cost?
I have no idea. It's not my province.
That's one thing I'd be curious. Like if it's
they have to pay a permit.
Crazy amount just to have a permit for a beardy.
For a beardy.
Yuck.
Yeah, but you know what? I kind of enjoy that they have to have, people have to, because I shouldn't say rescued, we took in a lot of rehomes, and people surrendered reptiles to us a lot for a while, and it was just constantly bearded dragon, bearded dragon, bearded dragon, bearded dragon, bearded dragon.
Yeah.
One right after the other.
Yeah.
So we'd get the odd thing like the water dragon, which came to us so sick with MBD and wouldn't eat, and it ended up dying 8 weeks after we got it.
Yeah.
And the turtles, the Mississippi map turtles.
Yeah. And it is fair to say, I mean, that is very fair to say, because of those permits, they're reducing the number of, animals that aren't being cared for properly. The thing I hate about those saying that is you could say that about every species of pet that there is, whether it's a dog, a cat, a reptile, an amphibian, everything. Yeah. And that was always a question of people who were against snakes in my ordinance. What happens if the snake gets out? Well, number one, it's North Dakota. The damn thing's not going to live through the wintertime. Number two, you could say that about your neighbor's dog, cat, blah, 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 blah. The difference
is not even going to go far from its enclosure anyways.
Right. And I was brutally honest with them. And I was like, listen, if your neighbor's dog gets out, you're probably going to like call up your neighbor and say, hey, your dog got out. Or somebody's going to post up a sign all over town saying, my dog got out. Please keep a lookout for my dog. Oh, please help me. Please help me. If my snake gets out of my house and is crawling into your yard, I would guarantee you that you're probably going to take a shovel to it and kill it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like everyone has these, a double standard. Like, as far as like, if a reptile gets out, what are you really that concerned? Because you know that you're just going to either hit it with a shovel, you're going to kick it, you're going to kill it, or do whatever you can to end its life. Okay. But, you know, we got dogs and cats that run the neighborhood, you know, rampantly. So that one got brought up a lot. And I was like, don't even start with me on that.
Oh, yeah. I remember this summer, John's grandparents lived like literally in the middle of nowhere, in this little tiny like 1-bedroom house, and you know it's out in the country. They've got a beaver pond literally 30 seconds from their house in the woods. So garter snakes.
Yeah.
Garter snakes. He had a garter snake underneath his house, and he killed it. And I was just like, realized that would help you with your mice problems. And then, but he said it in front of my 6-year-old, who's just like, why didn't you just pick it up and move it?
Yeah. Yep. Nobody.
I'm like, why didn't you call me? I would have literally picked it up and moved it.
Mm-hmm.
Not take it home, I wish. But we can't keep garter snakes here.
Yep.
Because they're native.
That is a good thing to mention, though. That was one thing about being publicly outed, I guess you could say, or visible in the public as far as fighting this ordinance. Because they had me in the newspaper, they had me on the news, they had me on this and that. So my face was kind of pretty recognized for a little while there in fighting that ordinance. The nice thing about that is through all of that stuff, I got to do, now that COVID has happened, I haven't been able to do this, but I've been asked to talk to science classes about breeding. I have done presentations at libraries. And I've even had a few people call me and say, oh, there is a garter snake. I'm terrified of it. Can you please come over?
Yeah.
So that's another positive thing about, you know, making yourself known within your community is, you know, people, instead of taking a shovel to it, it's like, oh, there's that one guy. I saw him in the news. I'm going to get a hold of him some way. So it's a positive thing of just trying to put yourself out there, I guess.
Yeah. So let's see, 58 minutes. I'm going to start. I've been trying to get this going and nobody ever does it. So I'm going to start it. You're going to be my guinea pig.
Okay.
So what I want to start doing right around now, I start taking questions from the chat.
Yep.
I want to start bringing on a person or two to ask on the live, because we're all about interaction here on my channel.
Yes. And I'm horrible. I'm sorry. I get on my rants. And I know that I missed a lot of good questions and comments on the side.
That's the thing. I missed it too because there was a lot of lace brought up. I was drinking a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to drop a link into the chat. If you are brave enough, you will click on the link. Make sure you got a camera. You're going to come up. You got 2 minutes to come on and ask Marshal a question.
Oh boy.
I think it's going to be fun. I want to do this. You don't really see others podcasters do this. And we don't.
Oh, you got your shtick now.
No, it's like a really neat thing that should be done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it'll be fun. And you don't have to be scared. You don't even have to turn your camera on if you just want to turn your mic on. So I can have lots of people on here. We're going to bring one at a time. I think this would be fun.
While we're waiting, I did Morphic. I think we did talk about your het pied, and yeah, I agree. I think the lace pied is going to be pretty tricky to identify. But a super lace pied, I think, that could be some interesting stuff. I don't know. The pied stuff scares me with a gene that I'm already nervous about being able to identify. So even though everyone loves pied, I'm kind of terrified to put it in the pied because I'm like, what the hell am I going to have?
You say everyone loves pied, but
you don't?
Okay, so unpopular opinion, I don't like pied. Here's why. So I literally have diagnosed OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. I like things certain ways. They have to. If you look at my tree, things are not grouped together like they're spread out. A regular pie is not pleasing to my eye because the patches that are there that are regular do not match the white.
Okay.
So when you have like a lightning pie that's all grayscale, it matches white. When you have a baby dreamsicle, what colors are it? Orange and white.
Right.
That's fine. Everything else.
Brown and white doesn't work.
It has to be like. So like I have a pied het lav and it's a healthy, good looking snake, but it hurts me.
Okay. It's okay.
It's just my quirk. It's just my quirk.
Okay.
Who was it I was saying that to? I think it was on Billy's Crowdcast, and he's like, you know what? I understand. I get it. I get it.
Okay. But I was just thinking if for someone with OCD, if you have a pied, say a medium white pied, you have some symmetry there. Doesn't that help? If you have pattern, white, pattern, no?
No. Aurora calico cats hurt. No. Calico cats hurt me, however, tortoise shells do not. Tortie cats do not.
Tortie cats. Okay.
They're the money cats they're like the calicos, but there's no white.
We have a Manx cat, so then they have a cat with no tail, so it's like
I'm very aware of how broken I am. Like
it's an incomplete cat, a cat with no tail.
Yeah. I mean, I have a black cat and it's evil, and no. I have a beautiful, beautiful snake that is an OD Cine NC fire/vanilla with a huge ringer on it that's like that big. Like it looks slow white pied. He hurts me.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even care because it's not me being exaggerated. I have diagnosed by a psychiatrist obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay.
That's why you see me like wring my hands and stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I
see questions being asked, guys, but I don't see any people hitting the link. You do not have to turn the camera on.
Morphic. I mean, I guess
I'll do it for Dave. I'll do it for Dave.
Yeah, Morphic. I agree with you. I mean, if you can get your hands on or produce your own lace het pied, that would be a way to go. So that you're eventually doing a lace het to a lace het. But the other option is just go ahead and pair her and then hold back everything if that's even a possibility. I mean, obviously out of the hets, you're going to see your laces. The tricky part to lace is so much of that, identifier is the belly line. And in a pied het, especially if you're just doing a het to a het, now you have a 66% possible het lace. So is what you're seeing the lace pattern, or is what you're seeing pied tracks? So that's a part of it that would get tricky too. Fun. Yeah.
Okay. I pinned the link, guys.
No link.
I'm like, I see it on both of my screens. What you talking about, Willis? I just dated myself right there.
Yeah. Let's not even get into that.
I watched it in reruns.
Yeah.
No, I think it's really cool that you brought things to your place. Oh, look who we got. Hey, Philip.
Oh, what? Holy Philip, my man. I know how much this hurts you. He's like,
so if anybody doesn't know, Philip's never been on camera before. And he is with PD's Reptiles. And I already have him booked for his first roundtable. So this is just a pre-show.
Heck yeah. Oh my God. Good to see you, my man.
So Marshall, when we putting a super lace to a super coral glow?
Ooh. That's, wait, did you say you are?
Or when are we doing it?
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, okay. That is a very, very interesting proposition, and that's definitely something.
Coming up, hopefully next year, I should have a visual super coral glow visual pied.
Okay.
So then we can actually make hats for pied and actually make that project happen.
Yeah. I like where you're going with that. I'm the one that put the kind of the hitch in that giddy up because, baby. Because, so I only have 3 lace females that are up to breeding size. I mean, I got a shit ton of hatchlings that I'm growing up now, but the 3 breeding females that I have up to size, I went with, number 1, I put a puzzle to one of them, a visual puzzle, and the other 2 I put a clown. I went past, even though it like goes against everything that I say. Instead of going for supers this year, I went to make hets this year. So I won't be making any supers until next year, or unless this one that's supposed to lay eggs in a couple of days, by some chance of God, she is actually lace hidden in there. That's the only shot that I have at a super for this upcoming season. Because I went hets, and I wanted to put lace into some other genes that you don't see around. Like I put my super to a spot nose Mojave. What else? So and then I've got a lace and yellow belly ivory, or lace and ivory project. But when I start working on those super projects, I'm definitely talking to you. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I should have some female making female coral glow pieds coming up.
No, Marshall doesn't want the cookie. Marshall does not want the cookie.
I love cookies. What are you talking about?
She's trying to give you the cookie.
Well, thank you.
This is Hazel.
But yeah, I like where you're going with that. And you said these are female makers, or?
So I have a female coral glow, and then I have a super coral glow
Okay.
Both have hides.
Okay. So in reality, if you were to produce those this year, right?
They will be next year. This year,
Okay.
I have him paired up to a couple hep hides this year, but super coral glows will be next year or late this year.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to breed all year round.
Right. If you were to hit something like that late this year, you got a head start on some females. And when I get around to making supers, there'll be some males. Huh. So I'll give you the head start.
Sounds good.
Hey,
I like that pairing.
Seriously, Philip, thank you so much for coming on. I know you hate this part. So
He's been so excited though for our roundtable coming up.
Hell yeah, so am I. That'll be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. I can't. Which day is that one again? January 9th?
January 9th at 9 p.m. your time, 8 p.m. my time.
Yeah.
What Philip said.
That'll be 10 p.m. my time. So we'll have Marshall will be there. We've got Philip with PD's Reptiles. We have Shane Kelly because he's everywhere. And we'll have Zach as well.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to sit in the corner and drink my wine. That conversation.
Right. Yeah. Try to make it easy on you.
Do we really even need me?
Of course we do.
I could put a picture up with it, like a stick figure on it, and nobody will know the difference.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys back to it.
All right. Thank you, Philip.
Bye, Philip. That was fun. I like that. Okay, who's next? More questions.
And Callie, I think. Well, how can I not have like a super lace? The problem is, Callie, you're wanting a female, man. How am I not going to be able to hold back a super lace female if I were to hit one?
Next year, 22.
Right.
I like where Philip's going though with the
I know that
breeding all year long.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping to do with the ambient.
I mean, I pretty much, without even trying, for me this year, I'm pretty much breeding year round because I had clutches start hatching out in March, and then my last clutch of the year hatched out in October, the very first part of October. So I was already starting to get females ready and starting to make my plans for my next breeding in October. So, nice. I mean, I was like, well, I guess we'll just continue on. And the females that laid real late this year, I will just, I'll start them late. So
yeah, I've got a really nice banana fire female coming from ALP. Morph April. We love April, and it's a late in the year snake. So I'm trying to get that banana mahogany spot nose HRA up to 300 grams by summer.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine a super nana fire spot nose mahogany HRA?
Holy crap.
Little thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Not
all right.
What's that?
I'm putting the pressure on. Come on, let's go. More questions. This is fun.
You know it. You know who needs to get her feet wet?
Who?
It's Jamie.
Jamie was in here.
I know she was in here, and she was like, "Oh, I mean, Jamie, you have been talking about wanting to do lives yourself. So, I mean, how are you ever going to do a live without at least getting your feet wet a little bit?"
She'll tell you she's been on Chris Eaton's debate.
Oh,
look, we have Rebecca. I can never pronounce her last name. Hi, honey.
The face of shocking exotics.
Ta-da!
In my cleaning garb. Let me pause the other video.
Also in her big screen debut.
Yes. Being in my disaster zone, it's work in progress. It's work in progress.
I've got them on bookshelves in like the office, so you know.
I have best shelves I have ever found was it's either Home Depot or Lowe's HDX brand shelves.
Yeah.
It's double plastic, and then I just have like dry erase board for the tops.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've ordered them
a shelf.
I think isn't it Emily from Snake Discovery? I mean, like for a while, I mean, her whole entire collection was on the HDX racks, I thought.
Here's the thing. I ordered them from Home Depot.
Yeah.
The first set back order came in cracked and broken. then they lost the second order.
Yep.
I'm still with it.
But
Rebecca, since you're here, you know, and we're taking questions, what's your question this evening?
Well, I've got a few, and now I'm just kind of stage shocked.
Yeah.
Very intimidating. Very intimidating.
Yep.
I don't normally do video chats and stuff like that, and I honestly hate my own voice on my own video recordings. It's like,
cheers to that.
Talk to you.
100%. Yeah, I feel you.
About the hairless wrap. So I pulled out a few that I have produced.
Oh, we got rats.
Hairless. Nope.
Hairless? So is that a double Rex or hairless? Is that a female or male?
This is a male.
Okay.
Says
and he is not a Rex.
Did you see that?
Come here.
So you have to watch it with the true hairless female. Because
no, I don't have any true hairless adults. These guys just popped up out of nowhere.
Yep, so that's probably a double Rex.
Okay.
But a true hairless female, in my experience that I've come across, have no nipples. And they can't nurse properly. So they go to the bye-bye bin.
This is a girl, but I don't really see any nippies, or at least I think you're a girl. Yeah, you're a girl. And they do have slightly curly whiskers.
Yeah, so a true hairless female, again, in my experience that I've seen, will not have nipples.
You want to show off for us?
They can't nurse. But a double Rex will. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Before you
do you breed your own rats, Marshall?
I do breed my own rats. I have not come across any hairless. I've not.
Dying of heat stroke.
I don't end up. I've yet to find anything strange pop up in my colonies.
Yeah.
I
like the blue rat.
I know.
And I got a hairless rat pup. It's like,
So did they start out? Did they start out though with hair?
No.
No.
Even as they get to big old pups, they still no hair.
Were mom and dad curly hairs?
I believe so. Yes, I've got them.
So most likely a double Rex.
Okay.
I've seen a few that had like the really short curly hair, and then it just kind of.
Oh yeah, Rexes can get really super long poofy hair. I have a blue Rex that looks like a poodle.
I'm trying to imagine that. That's funny. I did have a question, Marshall.
Yes.
This is one I've been trying to figure out what to do. I have a male. He's a Firefly Lesser. He is a great breeder. He's actually what helped me produce all of my discos from last year.
Oh,
he kills food, but he is visually thin. I have not bred him at all this year, but I'm still trying to figure out what to do. Nothing's come back on a fecal. He's just, I don't know if I can pull him out without getting tagged.
And have you gotten a weight on him?
Last time I weighed him, I believe, I'm trying to think, he was, actually I think I have it on this tub. He was 769.
769. Okay.
About
And
800 grams.
and you've And how old is he? A couple of years or?
I got him in early 2018 as a hatchling. He was a couple months old. So he's about 2 years.
And he has bred for you in the past.
Oh yes, he is the father of my Disco Infernos.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Hello, Loki. You are in bad shape. Please don't.
As we wait for her to come back.
Rats.
Cheers, everybody.
Yep.
It's a terrible shed right now. He's
Rex is super variable. Yeah.
Used to, but he used to look really, really thin.
Okay.
He's going through a terrible shed, but it was just this lower half was really thin, like he had nothing in him, even though he just ate. Please don't take me. You're supposed to be my good boy.
Well, okay. I guess my thing is okay. Like you said, he ate. He's bred for you in the past. He may have had some abnormality going on with him. I would honestly go about your pairings just to see what's going on. My strong belief is that a healthy snake is going to eat for you, and it's going to defecate, and it's going to pee, and it's going to breed as normal. If you suspect something
right next to my hand, it's making me jump.
If you suspect something might be wrong, try to feed it. If it doesn't eat, maybe you got a problem. Try to breed it. If it's not breeding, you might have a problem. If he's eating, if he's breeding, if he's pooping, he's peeing, those are going to be your first, in my opinion, your first 3 indications of something going wrong. Is it's not going to perform those 3 functions. So I would say go about your pairings as planned and see what happens. He's eating, he's pooping, he's peeing, he's breeding.
He's pounding food. He takes any leftovers no one else wants.
Yep. Other than that, if there's something abnormal looking in his, and you said that you've done fecal and there's no parasites or anything like that. I can't see why you wouldn't continue on with your breeding. Let him do his thing. He may be just a skinny little guy.
Slow grower.
It kind of happened around breeding season, and he was still pounding food during breeding season. Just his lower half looked really thin and deflated. And he's gotten a little better now, but I haven't paired him up this year because I wanted to keep his weight back up to where I was comfortable with, around the 700-800 mark, because I didn't want him to drop into the 5s and
that's a significant if that were to happen, that's a significant weight loss for him. But if he's still eating, I can't imagine, other than having parasites, can't imagine he would drop that much. So I'd let him do it.
Let him breed.
Let him get it. Yep.
All right, great.
If you guys like, I can pull you out his son that is now a breeding powerhouse.
Hell yeah.
We love snakes. I'm getting involved.
You're welcome.
Oh, and of course, he's in blue.
Always.
Deep blue. He looks ugly in blue.
I try not to move them when they're in blue, but apparently my hypo and pet hypo, I can't tell half the time. All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Rebecca.
Yeah.
There
was I know that there was a question earlier that I missed, and Alyssa, I don't know if she's still here, but no, I don't. That's the one. I do not have a lace yellow belly. Yes, to show yet. That's what I'm shooting for this year in a couple of pairings.
Yeah.
So, because I definitely want to have a few of those on hand. So
to sell to me,
right?
So I can make him lace asphalt.
There you go. Only I will only sell you.
Or lace two-way.
I will only sell you a lace yellow belly if you submit and say asphalt. No.
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 Okay, so actually, while I was Googling why Americans and Canadians say it differently, it's because asphalt, the product, and asphalt, the product, are two different things.
Yeah.
So your guys' asphalt is made differently than our asphalt. Like, not the G, like the actual pavement.
Or something like that?
Something like that, yeah. So I'm like, well, that makes sense.
My daughter wants to say goodnight. Come say goodnight. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night. I can't hear
Do you want it? You want to listen? Say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night. Promise me you'll bug your dad for me.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, what did you start?
This is what we do on my channel. We stick the kids to the parents.
I'll talk to you later.
Good night.
Oh my. Well, that was fun. I mean, we still have some time for another question or two. I mean, look, there's Alyssa. Alyssa's always asking questions. Why doesn't Alyssa just pop in?
I know. She should.
She doesn't even pop into Zooms.
Yeah. There's Mindy. There's Alyssa. And Callie. Callie, you should pop in.
Yeah.
Jamie. Is Lance still here? We should get Lance on. I mean, if Philip can finally feel comfortable enough to come on, anybody can do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We're not scary. I mean, we're both pretty... Oh, I see that.
There's Mindy.
What's up?
Callie.
Is
Lance still here?
Yeah. Oh, we're hearing us in revert or echo.
If Philip can finally feel... Anybody can do it. I'm just saying.
How do I do it?
Mute the YouTube.
It's not bad enough to hear my voice.
What's up?
Oh, this is bad.
Oh, I'm trying. I can't.
Yeah. Close the YouTube video itself. There we go. So Jamie's muting herself, is she? She could just close the YouTube thing out itself and leave the stream up. I know she can hear me. She'll hear me in 30 seconds, guys. Now Marshall's muting himself. This is great. Okay, let's.
Are we good?
Should be good. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Okay. I had no idea what was going on there, and I still don't know what's going on here. Okay. What's going on, guys?
Oh, we're taking questions from everybody.
Kathleen's bugging the shit out of me tonight. I mean, the usual.
Nice.
I'm just doing it with more people and inviting more people to do it.
Right.
I like it. I think it's a great idea because it gives everybody, a chance to kind of ask their question without just typing it out and everything. But awesome.
I'm lazy. I don't want to type.
Right.
I'm also lazy, and I want other people to ask questions so I don't have to.
Right. So I do have a question for Marshall because how he got into it, since it's so unconventional about how having the eggs at your house before you had steaks and everything like that. When did you make the decision that breeding is something that you personally wanted to get into? Was it from learning from them experiences, or was there like a snake that called out to you? You're like, I got to make that.
Yeah, no, that's a really great question because I don't have like a definitive time of when it happened. Like I said, I was keeping snakes and incubating eggs for a friend, and the more that I did it, the more I found this is really cool. This is really fun. I really love it. And honestly, I think it wasn't necessarily a specific time when I said I want to breed snakes, but there was a specific snake. Oh, shit. I lost him. No. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, no.
No, but
I
did end up, the very, very first snake that I ever got was an albino. That was the first snake that I bought for myself. This wasn't crystals. It wasn't being kept at my house. I was in quarantine. It wasn't incubation. It was like I was helping her out. I finally was like, I'm gonna get my own snake since I had all the equipment at my house for her. I was like, I'm gonna put my own snake in one of these racks. So I went out and I got an albino for like $200 or something like that. And I was like, the more I looked at it, I was like, I already know kind of what the hell I'm doing. I might as well do this for myself too.
Right.
So
I was wondering, like, just kind of like transitioned over, or if there was like a moment where you've seen an animal and you're like, that's where I want to go. Because obviously lace didn't come into play until later, right?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it was all of the above. It was like gaining all this experience. And then all of a sudden it was like, I want a snake of my own. What am I going to get? Well, I'll just get something simple. And I picked up an albino.
That's simple.
Yeah. Once I had all of that, it was like, you know what? I think I have all the tools. Crystal gave me this experience. Gave me this knowledge. And I felt comfortable enough. I didn't feel like I was just starting from square one. It was like I had this experience. So I was like, I can do this.
Right.
And I think
experience before most people think about it.
Before I had my own personal snake, I had already incubated 4 clutches and was host to 4 or 5. I want to say about 15 different quarantine snakes I was taking care of before I decided to get my own first snake.
Right. That's awesome. I mean,
so it worked out perfect. And then the other thing is like, I didn't even get into reptiles in the conventional way. I wasn't like most people, like grow up with snakes, or they grew up chasing snakes in their backyard and things like that. Where I lived in North Dakota, it was a town of like 1,500 people. We didn't even have a pet store.
Right.
The only place that I could go to get a pet would be the local. It was called Ben Franklin, a little 5 and dime store, and that's where you would go to get like a hamster. It wasn't the snakes or anything like. Never going to be there. And it was it was a farming community. So the only thing you could find for pets were dogs, cats, and hamsters and mice or whatever. So it wasn't until I was in the Marine Corps and I was 24 years old and a guy knocks on the door of my dorm room and is like, "Hey, there's a snake that's in the electrical room or in the broom closet." And I was like, "Well, I'll go look. I like animals. Let's go check it out." And I went in there and sure shit, here's a snake sitting in the corner.
Did you ever find out who that belonged to originally? Because I mean, it wasn't like a rat snake or anything, right? It was
never did. It was something that escaped, and maybe the guy just either didn't care that it escaped or didn't want to fess up to having it or whatever. I never found out who it was, but yeah. So that was my first introduction to a reptile as a pet. So
no Hazel.
That's
I went about everything bass-ackwards.
Hey, it worked.
Exactly.
My
All right, that's really what I wanted to ask, because I've heard that story. I heard you explain that story a couple of times now, and I was kind of wondering, like, what made you make that crossover from just helping a friend out to all of a sudden, I guess not all of a sudden, but
it was, and it never ever was like this really a defining moment or anything. It just kind of, I don't know, it just always felt like it was a natural.
John, can you pass me my phone, please?
Man down. What happened?
Man down. Baby hit the thing.
It never felt like some defining moment. It just always seemed to like a natural progression. It's like, well, this is what I should do because I like it. It's been fun. And yeah, this is what I need to do.
And your wife was cool with that? I mean, I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Right?
No, actually, this was bought. Yes, this was the first snake that I did buy, but it was part birthday present for her and for me, kind of thing. So even though this little guy is just, an albino or whatever, he's never ever. I mean, he's never going anywhere.
Oh, you guys seen John's face, did you, when it went underneath the couch?
Oh.
Yeah.
Because he's always like, I'm done with this.
No more.
No more. Past your bedtime.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. And Marshall, thank you very much for coming on. Talking with us.
While you're here, when are you starting your live stuff?
We'll discuss that later.
Yeah.
No. That's not this channel. We made Corey commit.
Do a collab.
Oh.
We'll do a collab live on Sunday nights.
Break the ice. And then whenever I'm like, it was absolutely not for me, then Marshall can take over Sunday nights and we'll have something wonderful to watch on Sunday nights.
Right. Sunday nights with the law and the dill.
No, I'm mama. I'm not dada. I'm mama.
Oh.
All right, guys. Well, you have a great night, and I'll talk to you all later.
Awesome.
Bye, Jamie.
Bye, Jamie.
All right, we got another person back in here. It's the man who usually has a baby with him. It is Mr. Kirkman.
Oh, Lance.
What?
Oh, no.
Where did I come from?
I'm scared.
Mommy.
Mr. Kirkman.
Howdy, guys. How you doing tonight?
Good. How are you doing, man?
I mean, I've had wine, and apparently my baby wants to throw phones at 11:37 at night.
Right.
Why aren't you sleeping?
I'm not the only one who doesn't want to go to sleep at that hour.
Yeah, it's what you do. I mean, yeah. If you don't want to go to bed, you start throwing shit.
No, it's nice.
No.
But I heard I was getting called out, so I said I'll be right back.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you in the chat, and I'm like, Lance needs to come on.
Yeah, he's always got some questions.
I know. Lance's questions scare me, though, because it usually has to do with locality.
Locality, like what alcohol?
Things that don't exist in ball pythons for the most part, yeah. He asks the questions that don't exist in ball python breeders. Right? Oh, yeah, he's bringing out the big guns.
Look, Hazel Snake. He's like, it's not Billy and it's not Asphalt.
Yeah.
It will never be any of those.
What? No.
The moment I was told that you could actually own a boa that didn't get 7 feet, that actually stayed small, I was in hog heaven.
And
he's not going to stay still. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
This is a Pokegron Suriname. And when we talk localities, that's what we're talking about, is snakes that are from very specific areas and have. Yeah.
So where is this very specific area? That's what I want to know. Like if I'm Googling whatever that locality is, where is it on the map?
So you're going to go to South America. You're going to go to Suriname, and they have a huge forest that takes up a huge part of the country.
Go bug your father.
Warren Booth said there is a study paper out that says Guyana and Pokegron boas are the same species, but he hasn't got it to me yet, so I can't tell you definitively what was discovered in this study. Okay. The problem, though, is two problems. Yes, they share thousands of miles of forest, and when one border's closed, they magically just ship out of the other border and call it that location's name. So we know there's a degree of we don't know the truth.
Okay.
But at the same time,
on boa?
We know that. We know that that at least a huge chunk of the Guianas have beautiful purples, and it's not that's not a common thing for a Suriname to have the deep purples. So it's a conundrum. I wonder if that's going to be something you would just call a dimorphism of the areas.
Right. Right.
But of course, without the study to see what they found, who knows? And hell, they could be the same snake, but just because you're the same doesn't mean you haven't changed because you're 1,000 miles apart from each other.
Right. So is it a little bit with the boas? Are they having somewhat of a similar problem with like, okay, the retics came out of this airport, therefore it was labeled this locality?
In the Pokegron and in the Suriname and the Guyana, yes. But no, a lot of the other ones, no, they're very explicitly exactly what they are.
Okay.
The Hog Island, so the
Anybody got a ponytail to catch the things that are going over my head?
So the Pearl Island, Saboge, whatever it is only off of one island, and there's multiple other boas. Well, boas on other islands, but we've never invested time in them because they closed up the country. So we only have Saboge Island boas, but it's exceedingly different than they're all clustered. So Surinames are boa constrictor. This is boa imperator. So everything I've got other than that Suriname is imperator, but they're all very different. The Belize boas look hell of a lot similar to each other, which my theory would be they all came off the same island, and then, or they came off the mainland and then split as the islands floated away. But they've all changed. There's huge dimorphic changes in them as the islands have split and gone off, and they've had to adapt. And the problem is we've got maybe 5 out of 15 islands. So,
holy shit.
Yeah, there's a guy who believes he's the sole caretaker of the Wee Key Island, and so we have a scientist who pissed the guy off really bad, got permission to take one photo, took 2, and got threatened and kicked off the island. And that's what we have for that island is 2 photos.
Yeah. Hopefully
I don't know much about boas, so where does the Dumeril fall? Because I like Dumeril. Is that a locale or a morph or something? I don't know these things. I'm not a boa person, but I like Dumeril.
Locale would probably be the best answer. It is not a part of the constrictor world. It is Crontophis dumerelli.
It's closer to python, though, isn't it?
Say what?
It's closer to a python species, though, isn't it?
Maybe, but it is a part of the Boidae family, so it's not. It's still hugging the boa world. It's not.
Aurora, get your button here if we're talking about boas.
But yeah, the funny part is, depending who you talk to, depends if there's 2 types. We have a local guy in Portland. Well, he operates outside of Portland, lives in Portland, but his company's outside because of their laws. He breeds and raises dwarf dumerils, and everybody else under the sun sells these dumerils that get 7-10 feet, whatever the hell their normal size is. Yeah. And everybody wants to sit and argue that there's no dwarf, but I've never seen a person. Everybody who hears his name, Michael Beach, instantly goes, "Never mind, it must be true." But in the same breath, they're like, "There's no such as a dwarf." It's like, well, he's brought his parents before. He knows what he's doing. Something's got to be right.
How big does Because how big does his fumerals get?
About this, probably just a foot or so bigger than the pearl you just saw, 4 feet.
Really?
Yeah,
So it's like a ball
that's the
python
smallest
size.
BTC you'll ever see in your life. That pokegrown, those are the smallest constrictors you'll ever see. Normally, most of them get way bigger, but he's a part of a very small line. He's bigger than his dad, but I can't do anything about it. The breeders told me I was feeding him too small of food and he was going to be dwarfed, and now he's bigger than dad. I'm like, don't think I screwed that up.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Their metabolisms have adapted to be wicked different than everything else. These guys, 99% of the locality boas are a feast and famine animal.
Okay.
And we just don't understand that. And so there's, Kathleen, you weren't in Cusco yet, but we interviewed Vin Russo, and he talked heavily about this. He literally feeds his boas and his ball pythons in a feast and famine manner. The rain season hits, they get food. The heat rises, they quit. They don't get food anymore. When the temperatures drop again and the rains return, they get food again.
Yeah.
Breed season, plump season, back to fasting, and that's how they work. So like I've got 4 or 5-year-old boas that are all just straight up males, and they're once a month feeders. They get food once a month. That's all. They don't need anything else. I do it to my ball python. I'm not a breeder, so my ball pythons, my 3 adults are all once a monthers. They get one nice big piece of food, and then they're done.
Yeah, my adults are about, except for the females right now who are breeding, my adults are usually about every 2 weeks. Here, with the ball pythons. The females right now, because they're breeding, they're like, no, feed me now.
Yeah.
Well, and
I ain't messing with them.
And that's the problem with our mentalities to theirs. They're programmed, I do not know when I'm going to eat food, because they don't know when that next food is. There's an awesome some researchers were out in the middle of blah blah blah, we'll say Honduras, and they found a locality boa 50 with an iguana down its gullet, largest boa they had that locale that they'd seen. 50%, the iguana was halfway down its gullet, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta watch this. We've never seen this before." They sat and spent until sundown and said, "Hell no, we can't stay up for this." Packed it away, threw it in a quarantine area in their research facility. Got up the next morning, and the 2 were in the opposite corners, like, "Hell nah, stay away." The problem with the big animal, any snake has, is if I dare go to a larger prey, I must now continue to find that larger prey to maintain the body it takes to eat you. And so the fear is they could have cost that snake its life, because it had to get that big to be able to handle the iguana it was eating, or whatever the big lizard it was eating. But now all of a sudden it can't. It just lost it. Is it going to find another meal that it can?
Why do you have a spoon?
Because the spoon is mightier.
Yeah. Than the pen.
Like, let me put my cookie down so I can go at the phone again. No.
Thanks, guys. I need to get back to the group. Thanks for letting me invade.
Anytime. Thanks, Lance.
My pleasure. Thanks for calling me out.
Oh, wait. Before you go, you got any questions for Marshall?
Well, Marshall, what does an ultramel lace look like, and what kind of potential on the market does it have? You better take 10 shots, Zach.
I know.
I'm out.
It's kind of funny
Your name's not Zach.
That. That's funny you mentioned that, though, because
where's Zach?
I don't know, but in a chat the other night, it was Daniel Allison that mentioned. Okay, let me back up. Zach had said, "Hey, Marshall, when are we going to see a super lace ultramel?" And out of nowhere, Daniel from Constriction Addiction was like, "It should be soon, Zach." And I was like, what? I didn't even know he had lace in his collection, let alone lace Ultramels.
No shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's like, God damn it.
That was supposed to be my surprise.
Yeah. I was like, son of a. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, whenever he decides to share them, let me know.
I know, right? Oh, boy.
Just so we're aware right now, and I have it on screen, Aurora just marked down for a boa round table. We're going to teach Kathleen boas for an hour.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
I'm in for that.
Oh, since we're doing that, I need to grab a book for you.
I know nothing. I know what a doom reel is, and I know I like them, and I know they don't get super big, and they would be a good beginner boa for me.
He's going to grab a book for us. Oh, man.
Your reading assignment, Kathleen.
Son of a.
But Mr. Kirk, man.
No, not by me, Vin Russo. The man, the myth, the legend.
I'm calling you like Mr. Kirkman, the teacher. No.
Yeah.
Got it. Gone.
Damn it.
Vin Russo. Can I download this illegally somewhere?
Yeah. Kathleen, if
I plead the fifth. I know nothing, want to know nothing.
Kathleen, if you had told me at the beginning of this that there was going to be a homework assignment, I would have never signed up. Damn it.
How is my show when I get a homework assignment?
Good night, guys.
Good night, Lance.
Bye. I'm removing you. Cheers. Goodbye. That's not cool.
I love that, man.
Okay. Who's going to do my homework for me?
Yep, exactly.
I'm the cool kid.
Yep.
Just tell me big words to say. Locality.
Locality, yeah.
It's I can't pronounce those words. All right. I'm going to give it 9 minutes. You got 9 minutes to get your any last minute questions in.
Who's next? Who's next? Come on. Who's the next victim?
Victim. This is fun.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, you guys really don't want to make me talk, do you?
You had an hour.
I swear to God, I'll do it. I'll talk.
Oh God, I want to go to bed eventually, guys.
I know. All right. Oh well.
I know very little. I wanted to stake with iridescent sheen and saw my leopard boa at an expo and couldn't resist.
Oh, are you related? The bodybuilder, not related to Tom Platz. I have.
But he is related to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Tom Platz is? Really?
No, I was talking about you.
Oh, me? I am Austrian, actually. Austrian and Norwegian. So there we go.
Oh, God.
You never know. You never know.
Never.
So, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. The link is pinned up there if you want to ask any last-minute questions. If you're too shy, you don't have to turn your camera off. I just thought this would be a fun little experiment. Oh, Tyler, when did you get in here? Have I just been too stunned to notice? Probably most likely stunned.
Philip had asked if I had partaken in any particular line of Xanthic, and I do partake in VPI. This is the only one that I have left from a VPI female that gave birth, got the eggs got twisted up in her oviducts, and I lost the female.
Yeah.
I only produced a calico
and
this visual VPI Xanthic, and this is the only thing left that I have from that project. So yeah.
It's funny how we use terms like project and things to kind of deflect from.
I know. It makes it, well, for one, it makes it feel, I mean, when you lose a snake that you grew up from a hatchling, and then you grew her up and she produced eggs for you. Yeah. It distanced myself from that emotional part of going through all that stuff and having to, I mean, I had to dispatch a female
Yeah.
So it kind of distances myself from that emotional aspect of it, and by calling it a project. So
yeah,
that's
that one thing you did that a lot of people don't do. When I was scrolling through your Instagram trying to find a picture for a thumbnail, I seen a post you had made about a little one that was eating for you, was fine, healthy, dandy. He opened up the bin, it was gone.
Yep. Yeah.
Nobody tells you about that.
No, and
when it happens, you feel like a piece of poop.
Yep. The worst part about that one was the fact that it was not only it was an animal in my care that died.
Yeah.
But obviously, as people have gotten to know me, they know that the lace gene is something I really want to work heavily. It's something that I want to put out there, right?
Yeah.
So not only was it an animal in my care that just up and died, 2, it was a bamboo lace.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was like, oh, first I'm going to get kicked in the face, and then just for good measure, let's kick you in the nuts too. So, I mean, that's how that one felt.
We had a similar thing. We had a male, and he was like 500 grams, and he just out of nowhere gone. And I sat there, of course, as a new breeder, I'm going to pull that rack apart, check everybody out, and humidity was fine. Temps were spot on. Like, I could not have gotten them more spot on if I tried.
Yeah.
And, the freshly cleaned, had water, was fed recently. He was one of those odd ones that likes to eat every 2 weeks versus like weekly.
Yeah.
So he had just ate the week before, like, fine. I had him out that morning doing my typical health check. John comes home from work and, I want to play with the snake, and opens it up and he's gone.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how? But,
yeah. And I really, truly wish I had an answer, but like for some of these ones that are like the newer hatchlings, or maybe even a couple of months old or whatever, it's like, I've seen it so many times now. It's like you have something it's thriving, it's getting going, it's on the right track, and then
boom,
done. Like, God, I hate it. But
we had one, and it's our own fault. It came in like 2 weeks before we moved, and then we moved, and then it didn't handle the move. So it had been starved for transport. It had one moved, and then it got starved for the move.
Yep.
And then once you move again, so you give it a week to settle in.
Yep.
And it was too much on the little dude.
Right.
But that was our fault. Like, that's when the snake came in. We should have tried to either see if the breeder would have maybe held it after the move.
Yeah.
Or something, but
okay, so here's an interesting thought though. That whole move, it was a major move, but on the same side, you look at the flip side of what happened with Billy, and you had snakes that were damn near frozen.
Yeah.
I have had snakes that have been shipped to me on a day that was supposed to be, it was above freezing. The snakes were coming to me. All of a sudden, in the middle of the night, snakes are in Nashville on their way to North Dakota, and blizzard moves in, and we got negative 20 degrees.
Oh my God.
And I have snakes coming to me. There was 6 snakes that I received in the same condition as what Billy had. You pull them out of the bag, and those damn things were just like frozen cow turds, for lack of a better term. They were just frozen. And so you can have a snake, and all of a sudden they're frozen like this, and you let them warm up, and the next thing you know, 5 of the 6 snakes that I had sent in died. I mean, were alive. One died. Sorry, too much to drink tonight.
Yeah. I feel you on that one.
5 of the 6 snakes that I had sent in survived. I lost 1. They were frozen, but 5 of them lived. That's what's weird to me is you can have such minor changes for a snake, and all of a sudden,
well, I think we'd have to do with age too, right? Because our guy was a teeny itty bitty little, like it just got established. Yeah. So
it's all over the board. You can have these major changes in their conditions, and you can have minor conditions, and it'll affect them. And all of a sudden they're sick or they're dying, or you can have some major change and they're fine. It's like I don't think that we necessarily have everything with a ball python and their, I don't know, the way that they're kept. I don't think that we have it 100%.
We don't have their husbandry and biology 100% figured out.
We don't have it 100% nailed down. We have a general idea.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that they can withstand a hell of a lot more than what we think they can in some instances, and then in other
some can't.
Yeah. And then some other instances they can't handle that.
Oh yeah, because like if we use my move for example, so these guys got broken down for a good 24 hours, you know, before while we're packing enclosures and stuff up. Some snapped right out of it. As soon as we got here, we're great, Danny. Woo-hoo. Some of them were off food for a while.
Yeah.
From that big move. Like it's the equivalent of transporting them, right?
Yeah. I know. Okay, listen. I know for a fact that the ball python can handle colder temperatures way more than they can handle warmer temperatures. I live in North Dakota. I know this for a fact.
I live in New Brunswick.
Right. I mean, I have seen some snakes come into this state, not by me, but by other people. Blah blah blah. I've seen them come into way colder conditions than what is acceptable.
I've had snakes.
Holy shit! Are you serious? You shipped a snake at this temperature? Yep.
We had snakes shipped during the heat wave, and they got stuck on the thing for 20 some odd hours. And it was 2-day shipping.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, 13 out of 16 did not make it.
Oof. Ouch.
And see, where I live, we'll usually, the local breeders will all get together and be like, oh, you're getting an order because shipping's so expensive to where we live. Oh, you're getting an order to let me get a couple snakes too, and we go in on shipping, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't just one person's snakes. That was like 5 of us.
Ouch.
I lost all of my snakes, and this is when I'm just starting out. I had lost a pastel leopard female, and I had lost an OD yellow belly lesser fire male, which would have been I bought from my female asphalt. So yeah, that was bad day.
Bad day. Shane is here.
Deron.
Oh,
it's the magical day. Oh, Shane and Deron, just so you're aware, there's a link up above that's pinned. We're taking questions for the audience because we stopped talking about things. We're like, let's just take questions from the audience. I don't want to say audience. It makes me feel like a snob.
Wait. You are a snob.
Deron, Marshall and Kathleen, of the breeders in our Discord community, who do you think has the most extensive knowledge or experience with various species morphs? Honestly, everybody to me, and this is me being new and stupid, because we're going in first season. I don't know of everything. I would have to I don't think anyone knows more than the other, really. Because you're going to know what you like.
That is seriously.
Does that make sense? Here, Marshall and I have been drinking, so we will complete sense to each other. And everyone's like, what are you doing?
Ron, let me tell you, I got all kinds of information for you. What do you want to know? No, but seriously,
like I could sit there and tell you everything about Freeway and Asphalt and Yellow Belly and talk you left, right, and center about the Super Straight complex because that's what I'm obsessed with.
Yeah, I think our Discord group has such an eclectic array of knowledge. I mean, you want to talk about localities and boas? Let's
let's not.
Get Lance on the phone. All right. You want to talk about lace? Let's get Marshall on. You want to talk about asphalt? Let's get every Canadian that's in. No.
Aren't I like it's just me and one other Canadian in there?
Who has the most extensive knowledge? Cusco has the most extensive knowledge.
I drink this stuff. No, but I mean, if we want to suck up, Brian Cusco has the most extensive knowledge of breeders.
Of what?
Oh, I was just saying, if we want to suck out, that Brian Cusco has the most extensive knowledge of breeders. In our Brian Cusco Discord.
He would be the first one saying no.
Not that he actually watches these.
No, because out of our Cusco group, I would say, I mean, Duran, who has more knowledge on super dwarfs and retics more than you and Zach is. He is making his push to know more than anybody, right?
Yeah. Duran, click the link and just get on here.
Zach lacks with knowledge on retics is just experience. I would think. I don't know.
I know there's Kathleen who knows nothing. We can all agree she's the least knowledgeable in this.
Oh, I'm waiting for Duran. I really want to hear his answer on this.
Yeah, I know. Duran, click the button. What's the thing? It's pinned.
Yeah. Come into the group.
I mean, if you're not, we'll just have. This is probably a lot funnier to you and I than everybody else watching.
I know.
I'm just a Garrett disciple.
Oh,
Duran.
I think we're all. Are we not all Garrett's disciples, Duran? No, really? I mean, come on.
Actually, I watched Garrett for the first time today.
What?
Yeah.
That's it. You're out of the group now.
Well, it's a hobby. I'm learning, and we're not allowed big snakes here. So why would I focus my energy on that?
Because they're not. So, big. If you do it right, they're not big.
Okay, but that still doesn't change the scientific name of them that is illegal here.
Wait, retics are illegal?
Where I live, yeah.
Really?
Anything over like 10 feet.
Wait.
Wait. You're dual watching us and the masked singer?
Matt, I hope that's Masked Singer and not.
Oh God, I don't want to know what you're into, Duran. At all. Pictures in my head are not great.
I don't know.
Hi, Hazel. All right.
Duran, I don't know if I've ever showed her off or anything.
Ooh.
My platinum super dwarf.
How big is that going to get?
Well, her mother was 7 feet from.
Oh, that's not big.
No.
Did they get like chonky?
No, she's going to be a sleek little athlete. It's hot role play night in my house. What? What did I miss? I took my headphones off for 2 seconds, you guys.
No, I was just making fun of the Masked Singer thing, and I did not want to know what he was into. And then he's just like,
all right.
Oh. Oh, goodness gracious. All right, it's 12:10. I've had some wine. My baby's running away with a Christmas ornament.
Perfect.
I'm in no condition to parent. If anybody, I'll give you like literally 2 minutes. Anybody have a question, drop it in the chat. Why we're closing. This is now I have to be professional, and I really.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have a
professional.
now.
Once again, this episode has been brought to you by Windsor Canadian Whiskey. Did she hang up on us?
And I hit the wrong button. Oh, wait, we have a guest stuff. No, we don't. I don't know what's going on. I hit the wrong button, guys. I meant to hit a banner. All right. So Marshall disappeared. Apparently. He's gone now too. I wish you all a good night. Please follow Marshall. All his stuff is going to be on the comments below. Very slow technical difficulties. Oh, we're so good at these things, guys. Saturday night, I do have my first roundtable, which will be Will Moreau's Royal Canadian Reptiles, June with Ballistic Ball Python, Chris with the Reptile Award, and his partner, Nick from the Reptile Award. Business partner, guys. And even if they were that kind of partners, we are very welcoming on this channel. So I'm going to wish you guys a good night. If you like me, subscribe, hit the like button, do the things that do the things. Marshall's already gone. Thank you, Marshall, for coming on. He left.